Okay, so welcome back. This will be the last video from the second framework lecture, this ESRS, and we will discuss first the ones connected to the environment, the ones that are E1 until E5. And these standards are focused on certain topics that are relevant for organizations. But depending on the type of the organization and the context is how much you should talk about it, how much detail, because every organization is different. If you go to the standard directly, they have a list of different things that you need to include. So we won't go at that level because it's a lot of things. And if we go and unpack every standard and we try to see everything that we need to disclose, it's going to be a lot. So we're going to talk about general aspects. You should try to kind of situate what you need based on the context of the company that you are doing in your case study or in your exam, and then propose what has to be disclosed in those aspects for each of the standard. We're not going to go in depth into each of them and discuss what has to be because it's a lot. Uh, it probably we need a whole course just for CSRD. But the E1, the first standard, talks about climate change. So we should talk about what is the strategy overall connected to climate aspects of the company, describe policies, and energy use is very important. Something very important for the environment standards is that you should disclose the scopes, like from, for example, in energy, I think it's clear that it's scope 2, most of it, because you only buy the service. But maybe there are some things on scope 3 that you need to disclose, or maybe you even have some scope 1, like if you have your own solar panels, for example, maybe you can report on that. So try to also disclose on scope 1 and 2 and 3 because it's about impact. Uh, Also, and this applies for everything, you need to talk about the double materiality. How do you ensure that what you are discussing in here is not only affecting your organization, but also your clients, your suppliers, things that are relevant also for the others. So talk about these things as well. It that's why I think you need to have flexibility when you propose something for ESRS because uh, whatever you propose, you have to justify with the double materiality element. So keep that in mind. Then talk about pollution, the E2. So I think there are different things, there are different types of organization that pollute in different ways. So try to talk about that. It's not only air pollution, it's also water pollution, chemicals, different things. So try to think about things that are relevant for your context, reflect on the double materiality, reflect on the scopes, and report that in here or state ideas of what needs to be reported. Then the E3, water and marine, the same thing, but about thinking about double materiality, thinking about the scopes, but with aspects related to water. Like maybe your organization has to withdraw water or maybe discharges in water, talk about that. Biodiversity and ecosystem, also talk about that, like what is the impact of your organization and the impact on others' organizations because of the double materiality and biodiversity. And finally, resource use and reuse and circular economy. So also discuss these things. What is the plan? What are the policies? What is the strategy? What is the impact? How do you measure it? All these things connected to circular economy. And then we move towards the social standards where we have S1 until S4. We start with own workforce. So here is important to describe things that are connected with your own employees. Sometimes here, if it is your own employee, you might think like, it's difficult to assess double materiality because everything is my own materiality. Just reflect if there is something that if you if you modify something on your own employees will affect someone else. So reflect on that. Workers in the value chain maybe is more connected to outside of you, like kind of like scope two evaluation of employees. So also discuss that you don't need the scopes in the social because the scopes is for the environment. So you don't need the scopes, but you do need the double materiality. So keep that in mind when you disclose aspects about S1 until S4. Affected communities is about not only your employees or other employees, but also whoever is close to your organization in terms of community. It can be also the government, it can be also like the impact on your neighbors of the organization, different things that you need to talk about. And finally, the consumer or the end user. So it's about the client in here. Like how can you ensure about the impact or the or sustainability issues or risks that your clients could experience. Like maybe you're putting a lot of waste on them. That's something that you need to disclose as well. And finally, the governance, which is more about defining the structure of the firm in a very concrete way for sustainability efforts. So, what are the very good examples like anti-corruption, whistleblowing policies? Like, how do you ensure that these things can be conducted? Like, how do you take care of incidents? These kind of things. Disclosure, are there committees? Are there boards? How do you ensure all of these things? And remember, you don't have to talk about scopes in G because it's about governance, it's not the environment, but you need to disclose the double materiality as well. So also consider what is relevant for other stakeholders. And that's it. That's what you have to do in regarding ESRS. So you can do something like this, like propose a plan where you have the different standards and then disclose things that are relevant for each of the each context for each of the firms that you are discussing. Remember the general requirements in S1, which is connected to overall governance, the double materiality, very important. Then the SRS in the ESRS2, you need to disclose the EU taxonomy. So very important things in the general ones. And then on climate, then you disclose, keep in mind the scopes, but also the double materiality. And then in social and governance, you can forget a little bit about the scopes, but do not forget about the double materiality. Always when you suggest what to report in each of these, remember to include the double materiality assessment. How do you ensure that you are complying with the double materiality concept? So that's it for this second framework, the one that is for European companies.